Recently, I had a third offense OUI at the Orleans District Court. It was not an outstanding set of facts. My client failed the breath test. His performance on the field sobriety tests were not outstanding. But my client is a good, hardworking man whose 2 prior offenses were quite old. So our goal in that case, if we didn't think we had a great chance to win in a trial, was to get his third offense OUI, which carries a minimum mandatory 5 months in jail, get it reduced to a second offense OUI, and get him into a 14-day inpatient program and avoid jail entirely. We were able to do that in that case. It is not unusual that we are able to get multiple offense OUIs, typically third offenses and fourth offenses, where there's mandatory jail time, reduced to a disposition where there is no jail time. And there's a number of different things we can do to accomplish that. It's helpful if we can present good facts about the client to the prosecutor and the judge, and that's what we did in this case. We extensively interviewed the client and wrote a letter that we presented to both the court and the prosecutor explaining why it was appropriate to work out a disposition where my client didn't go to jail. In this case, my client was an engineer and he had a long career. And he supports his wife and his children, one of whom was in college. And another factor is the prior offenses were quite old, and we have often been successful at attacking the validity of the prior offenses, because it is not at all unusual that if somebody was previously charged or convicted with an OUI 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, often in order for the prosecution to prove the prior offenses, they need to physically get the paperwork from that court, and it has to absolutely prove that it was the client, it was the same person. And oftentimes, when we take a look at old paperwork that is 15 or 20 or 30 years old, first of all, often they can't find the paperwork, in which case we can often get the charges reduced. And even if they can find some old paperwork, the older it is, the less likely it is to satisfy the criteria of the law. Sometimes old paperwork, it's handwritten and it's difficult to read. Sometimes there's old paperwork where there may be a client's name, but there may not be enough identifying information to prove it's the same person. It might not have the client's picture, it might not have the client's date of birth, it might not have the client's social security number. If you are charged with a multiple offense OUI and you wish to avoid jail time, give us a call at 781-380-7730. We can help.